was this big attack? Parivarvad versus Parivarjan. That is what the Prime Minister's reference was. Need to declare war. He actually called it an evil. The evil of corruption, the evil of Parivarvad or dynasty politics, and the evil of Tushtikaran. Tushtikaran, that's appeasement, which the Prime Minister said was against principles of social justice. From the ramparts of the Red Fort, Prime Minister Narendra Modi declared, he blew the poll bugle for 2024. He took a huge jibe at the opposition. He said he would return and address the nation from the ramparts of the Red Fort on August 15, 2024 and talk about the nation's achievements in the past 1 year. The Prime Minister made a switch by addressing the people of India as my family members, mere parivar jano, instead of bhaiyo or behno or my fellow citizens. Addressing the nation, the Prime Minister called on the people of our country to get rid of corruption, nepotism and appeasement. He made a big poll pitch for 2024. He said next year, August 15, he will present India's achievement story from the ramparts of the Red Fort. The Prime Minister slammed dynasty politics. He said that the country has to fight these three evils: corruption, nepotism, and appeasement. Because for some political parties, he said, it's family first, for the family, by the family, of the family. Let's listen in to the Prime Minister.
2019 में परफॉर्मेंस के आधार पर आप सबने मुझे फिर से आशीर्वाद दिया। परिवर्तन का वादा मुझे यहां ले आया, परफॉर्मेंस मुझे दोबारा ले आया और आने वाले 5 साल अभूतपूर्व विकास के हैं। 2047 के सपने को साकार करने का सबसे बड़ा स्वर्णिम पल आने वाले 5 साल है और अगली बार 15 अगस्त को इसी लाल किले से मैं आपको देश की उपलब्धियां, आपके सामर्थ्य, आपके संकल्प, उसमें हुई प्रगति, उसकी जो सफलता है, उसके गौरवगान, उससे भी अधिक आत्मविश्वास के सामने आपके सामने मैं प्रस्तुत करूंगा।
Now joining us on this special broadcast, Anshul Avijit represents the Congress Party. Syed Zafar Islam is Member of Parliament of the Bharatiya Janata Party, Rajya Sabha. Rajdeep Sardesai, India Today's consultant editor, remains with us, as does Rahul Srivastav, our National Affairs editor. The Prime Minister talking about merit versus dynasty. When he says, I was elected in 2014 on the promise to perform, reform and transform, and re-elected in 2019 on the basis of my hard work. Anshul Avijit, is this so far the Prime Minister's biggest attack on dynasty politics, Parivarvad?
You know, every time, the Prime Minister Gaurav attacks the opposition, it's almost like if he's standing in front of a mirror and the mirror breaks. You know, what is happening here is that all his attacks on the opposition might as well be directed to himself and his own party. And you know that more than anyone else. When you come to dynastic politics, well, it is his party that has courted dynasties. They've allowed them to come. They've given them bouquets. They've given them all kinds of ministerial berths, all kinds of rewards for them belonging to dynastic families. That is true. Where can I begin? I don't like to give a list of names, but there's a litany out there. It's from presidents of their party in different states, from ministers in the government to MPs and what have you. When it comes to corruption, for God's sake, I mean, you just lost an election in Karnataka on the basis of corruption. You were accused of a 40% commission sarkar. There are a number of luminaries in that list as well. I don't want to give their names again. And you do majoritarian politics. I mean, this subversive form of destroying bulldozer politics that you have, a form of retribution. Well, the reports are coming in, as they always do, that they're directed towards one particular community. So, I mean, the attack on the opposition is expected from the Prime Minister. He's learned 3 new words, which he keeps repeating speech after speech. And even from the hallowed portals of the Red Fort, he's going to do it. It doesn't surprise us. But the bunyadi things, you know, the berozgari,
So,
they were inflated at least 7.44.
You've said that the Prime Minister is actually looking at the mirror, Syed Zafar Islam, when he's talking about either parivarvad or bhrashtachar or Tushtikaran or appeasement. The opposition says the Prime Minister or his party is guilty of majority appeasement as against the allegation of minority appeasement that's leveled on the opposition, sir.
Well, I think if you just dig the history, you will find that Congress party has used the policy of to divide the society between the communities, between the section of the societies to rule the country. But in 2014, the Honorable Prime Minister had given a very candid statement that he will perform and transform the country. And in 2019, he gave a full snapshot of what he has achieved in the last 5 years, and based on the performance and the confidence people have reposed in him, that he got another 5 years to do the developmental work in the country. And in last 10 years, every section of the society is the beneficiary of the approach and the policy decision of the government. The citizen of this country was the direct beneficiary. There are people who are making money through unfair practices, like people who have not even born in the country. They were the beneficiary in prior to 2014. But now, with using the technology, doing the testing work and all the evaluation work, after evaluation work, we have realized that there are 10 crore people within the country who had never born, but they were actually in the register and the muster of Congress party who are taking the benefits through unfair practices. So those have been eliminated.
That's a very direct attack on the Congress party you are leveling.
Of the development.
Very direct attack. You are saying that 10 crore people were on Congress rolls who were taking money.
Yes, everywhere it is their government. They were taking pension. The person had never born, but they were the beneficiary. They have the death certificate. They're the beneficiary of the pension. Everything was well organized. This was well-oiled machine how to loot the country. So they were at play. They did this in last 70 years. But now
before I bring in Rajdeep Sardesai, I want you to quickly respond, sir. I want you to quickly respond to Anshul Avijit of the Congress saying, sir, Anshul Avijit of the Congress, Syed Zafar Islam says, you accuse the opposition of Muslim appeasement. The BJP stands accused of majority appeasement or Hindu appeasement.
There is absolutely no way we have followed the policy of appeasement. Every citizen is equal, and we have never equated anyone against each other. So for us, 140 crore, the word you have heard, 130 crore, 135 crore, 140 crore of the population, only from the BJP and the Prime Minister of our Prime Minister since 2014, because we have addressed nation as a whole, not a section of the society. So for us, we are actually dealing with this menace of the society, like nepotism, like Parivarvad, like Tushstikaran, all these policies which was followed during the Congress regime. It is actually the menace for the society and the biggest bottleneck for the developmental work. But now we will address this policy of what Congress has followed all along, the policy of appeasement. We will never appease any one section of the society, but
Rajdeep Sardesai,
with everyone. The governance model of us, that we will always be fair to every citizen of this great country.